Welcome to a new video. In this video, I am going to discuss some important points of chapter Fallacy and Propositional Logic. These important points are very important and necessary for attending the questions which are of 2 mark, 5 mark or 7 mark of the exam. So let's start. Fallacy and its kinds. Fallacy means error or confusion. Logical fallacy arises when there is any violation of rules of logic or when there is any ambiguity in the language. Fallacy are of two kinds, deductive and inductive. Deductive fallacies can be inferential or non-inferential. Inferential fallacies are again of two types, logical and semi-logical. So, in simple words, fallacy means confusion or error in a sentence. Logical fallacy arises when there is a violation of logical rules of logic or if there is ambiguity in the sentence, the language of the sentence. As you know, logic is of two types, deductive logic and inductive logic. Like that, fallacies are of also two types, inductive and deductive logic. Deductive fallacy. Deductive fallacy can be inferential or non-inferential as well. Inferential fallacies are also of two types, logical and semi-logical. Then informal or semi-logical fallacies. Inferential logics are of two types, logical and semi-logical. Semi-logical fallacy is also called informal fallacy. So semi-logical fallacies arise out of the ambiguity in the language and other reasons. The answer of a 1 mark question: when semi-logical fallacy arises? When does semi-logical fallacies arise? The answer is semi-logical fallacies arise out of the ambiguity in the language and other reasons. There are some non-logical fallacies. Ignoratio elenchi is one of them. Ignorantio elenchi is one of non-logical fallacies. This fallacy occurs when we argue besides the points or prove the wrong point. The ignoratio elenchi fallacy arises when we argue besides the point or prove the wrong point in our argument. It has different forms which will be discussed here. Symbolic logic. Aristotle is known as father of classical or traditional logic. Again, a 1 mark question. Who is the father of classical or who is the father of traditional logic? So the answer is Aristotle. Symbolic logic is a development of traditional logic of Aristotle. Symbolic logic is related to the logic of Aristotle. It adopts symbols and methods of mathematics for which it is regarded as mathematical logic. So here is again a 1 mark question. Which logic is also called mathematical logic? The answer is symbolic logic. Why? Because it uses symbols and methods of mathematics. Then, characteristics of symbolic logic. What are the characteristics of symbolic logic? C.I. Lewis has noted 3 distinguishing characteristics of symbolic logic. First, the use of ideograms. Second, Application of deductive method. Third, the use of variables with a defined range of significance. So these are three characteristics of symbolic logic. Variable. What is variable? A variable should be different from a consonant. It is not a consonant. Variable are letters of alphabets representing any term or preposition. Variables are used to represent any term or any proposition. But consonants are some symbols with fixed meaning. But variables are not of fixed meaning. They represent proposition or term of proposition. By the way, propositions coming together make argument. This is also a 1 mark question. Truth function. Any expression with logical constants is said to be a truth function. Any expression with logical constants is said to be a truth function of its proportional variables, because the truth value of that expression depends on the truth value of the proportional variables. So any expression with logical constants is said to be truth function of its proportional variables. Okay, so because the truth value of that expression depends on the truth value of proportional variables, so variables stand for the proposition, and the truth value of the variables are causes the truth value of that expression. Okay, and the expression with a logical constant is said truth function. Proportional variables, in simple words, proportional variables stand for the proposition of an argument, and the truth value of that the proposition is also the truth value of the variable, because the variable is the symbolic stand of the proposition. Truth table. What is the truth table? Truth table is a convenient way to show the truth value of a truth function, taking into consideration all the possible truth values of the propositional variables involves in it. So truth table is a box. Okay, in one side the variables are written, other side their truth value is written, whether it is true or false, and then we get the conclusion out of the propositions. Okay, out of the what you call the former proposition and the latter propositions. The term fallacy derives from Latin word fallacia. This is also a 1 mark question. The term fallacy is derived from the Latin word fallacia, which mean error or confusion. So 2 mark question can come like, from which word the term fallacy derives itself, and what does it mean? This will be a 2 mark question. If we break the 2 mark question, there will be 2 1 mark questions. As simple as that. So fallacy derived from fallacia, and which means error or confusion, and fallacia is a Latin word. Though Aristotelian logic is of 2 kinds, deductive and inductive, so fallacy is also of 2 kinds, deductive, inductive. Deductive fallacy may be 2 kinds, inferential or logical, and non-inferential or semi-logical. Here is also 1 more questions. Which logic is called logical? No. Which fallacy is called logical fallacy? So the inferential fallacy is called logical fallacy, and non-inferential fallacy is called semi-logical fallacy. Inferential deductive fallacy. These fallacies fallacies include fallacies of immediated inference and those of mediate inference. The fallacies include fallacies of immediated inference and mediate inference also. Fallacies of immediated inference. The general rule in the case of deductive reasoning is that an undistributed term of the premise cannot be distributed in the conclusion. So, wherever the rule is violated, the reasoning is fallacious. In simple